Hey, Brian Kelly here from Zombie Guitar. In this video I want to talk about how to rapidly improve a guitar in the fastest way possible. So I know that sounds like kind of a bold claim, and I know it sounds like a bold name for a title of a video, but here's the thing. If you know exactly what your goal is, and you're willing to put in the work every single day on achieving that goal, and you know the exact path that you need to take in order to achieve that goal, you're going to achieve your goal pretty quickly. Now, if on the other hand, you have a rough idea of what your goal is, you're willing to put in the work every day, but you don't really have a clear path, you asked people and you got 5 different answers, it's going to take you longer to achieve that goal. You may never even achieve that goal because you don't have a clear path. So that's kind of what this video is about. So, how does this apply to the guitar? Every guitar player at one point or another in their guitar playing life learns the minor pentatonic scale. So let's just play the minor pentatonic scale right here between frets 5 and 8. Now, you may also realize that the minor pentatonic scale contains most of the notes of the natural minor scale. So if you just go and you add a couple notes to that scale pattern, you're going to play the natural minor scale, which is this. So you know that little scale right there, you know your A minor pentatonic scale, you know your A natural minor scale. And you also know that if you play those notes and you're in the key, like if you're trying to solo with a band that's playing something in the key of A minor, or if you're trying to solo over a backing track that's in the key of A minor, you know that you can use all those notes, you can play them in any order that you want as your improvisational framework, and everything more or less is going to sound good because you're playing in the correct key. But you're going to reach a point where you're like, well, I don't feel like just staying here between frets 4 and 8. I want to use the rest of this neck. So how do I do that? So you go onto a guitar forum or you go into a Facebook group and you say, hey guys, I play this A minor pentatonic scale or this A natural minor scale in this one little position, but I want to figure out how to expand it across the entire neck of the guitar. What do I do? This has been going on for 15 years now. I see the same answers being given to this exact question on a daily basis. One person's going to say, you need to learn your modes. No. The second one is, you got to learn the cage system. Learn the cage system. The cage system is a great system. I love it. I teach it. But that's not going to get the person to achieve their goal. That's a different thing. Another person's going to say, you got to learn your scale patterns. That person's the one that is giving the correct advice. All right? Do you know that? You, as the person asking the question, you might not know that. You might have asked that question before and you may say, oh, I got to learn my modes, I got to learn the cage system, and I got to learn my scale patterns. All right, let me get on the internet. A month later, I'm so confused. How do you guys learn music theory is too hard? There's so much stuff. You're given too much information. You're giving conflicting information. The correct path is learn your scale patterns. If you go and you waste your time trying to learn your modes, you're not going to get what you're looking for. If you go and you spend all this time learning the cage system, you're going to be like, well, the cage system's about chords and stuff. I'm trying to learn scale patterns. What am I doing? You're not going to achieve your goal. You have to know the path to take. You have to know what to focus on. All right, so in this lesson, I'm going to show you the answer to that question. I'm going to show you, okay, if you're trying to expand your playing range so that you can play in one single key by learning your scale patterns, which is the correct advice, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm also going to show you the goal of the cage system. This video here is not going to be an in-depth lesson about the cage system. I did that already. I'll post a link to that below. I did a 45-minute lesson on the cage system. I'll show you what the goal of the cage system is. And I'm also going to show you just a very brief overview of what modes are. I also did a 3-part comprehensive series on modes. I will post a link to that 3-part series below as well. But 3 very distinct goals. Learning your modes is a very distinct goal. That's not this goal. Learning the cage system is a very specific goal. That's not this goal. Learning your scale patterns so that you can take this little scale and expand it across the entire neck of the guitar such that you can play in one single key is the goal. Let's look at that now. The pentatonic scale is just 5 notes. If you want to play the A minor pentatonic scale in just 1 octave, it's 5 notes. It's A, C, D, E, and G. Here's your A, C, D, E, and G. And then you're back on A again. If you repeat those same notes across the higher pitch strings, you're just going to be playing the same 5 notes, but it's going to form a pattern. This pattern is going to span 2 octaves plus a little bit. It's still just going to be 5 notes though. So it's all just A, C, D, E, and G, but you're playing those 5 notes across multiple octaves to form that one pattern. So if you want to learn how to play those same 5 notes spanned across the entire fretboard, you can do that. We're going to use the 5 pentatonic positions approach. In the next video that I do, I'm going to give you alternate approaches to learning the same stuff that I'm talking about here. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to take the 5 pentatonic positions approach. So you know one of your positions, which is right here. So you can also go this way too if this is position 1, this is position 5, this is position 4 down here. So you learn your 5 pentatonic positions. Learning the 5 pentatonic positions is going to allow you to achieve the goal of playing the pentatonic scale, not just in this area, but across the entire neck of the guitar. You're playing 5 notes only. As I said, you can also play your natural minor scale by adding a couple notes. Actually, the natural minor scale, otherwise known as the diatonic scale in the context of a minor key, that's the same thing. It's just 2 additional notes. So let's look at our 5 pentatonic notes, our 5 A minor pentatonic notes, A, C, D, E, and G. So there's your 5 pentatonic notes. If you add 2 additional notes, you're going to have a 7-note scale. That 7-note scale is going to be your A natural minor scale. And then you're back at A again. So pentatonic scale is 5 notes. The natural minor scale, otherwise known as the diatonic scale, is 7 notes. And that's all it is. So if you take this pentatonic scale and you expand it to cover, 6 strings, which takes the same notes and repeats them across a couple of different octaves, and you add in those 2 additional notes, B and F, which are also going to be repeated because you're spanning this scale across multiple octaves, you're going to have this. And these notes are also part of it too. So that's your A minor pentatonic scale. Adding the 2 notes, you have your A natural minor scale. So you can do the same thing. If you want to play your A natural minor scale across the entire neck of the guitar, well, you can just kind of figure out where those 2 additional notes are and how they fit in to each pentatonic position. Since the pentatonic scale is 5 notes, and then the natural minor scale is 7 notes, that means that the pentatonic scale contains 5 of the 7 total notes. So you're just going to kind of figure out where your 2 additional notes fit into each position. So you still have 5 different positions. And again, as I said, I'm going to talk about in the next video, I'm going to get into multiple different ways to visualize this. You don't have to just do it in 5 positions. You can do it in less than 5 positions. You can do it in more than 5 positions. It doesn't matter how many positions you use. The idea is that you're playing 5 notes if you're trying to play the pentatonic scale, and you're playing 7 notes if you're trying to play the diatonic scale. That's all it is. However many positions that it takes you to do that in order to cover the fretboard is the correct answer. If you want to do it in 5, knock yourself out. If you want to do it in 7, great. If you want to do it in 3, that's cool too. Whatever. Just play those 7 notes or 5 notes across the entire neck of the guitar, and that's it. All right, so what about for a major key? So we just looked at the A minor pentatonic scale, and we looked at the A natural minor scale, otherwise known as the diatonic scale in a minor key context. That's the 7-note scale. It's called the diatonic scale. But we want to do the same thing for a major key. So there's a band or there's a backing track, and let's say the backing track is in the key of A major. I want to learn how to play my A major pentatonic scale. Or I want to learn how to play my A major scale, the 7-note scale, otherwise known as the diatonic scale, in a major key context. The 7-note scale is called the diatonic scale. The 5-note scale is called the pentatonic scale. Minor key, major key, they're both the same. All right, 5-note is pentatonic, 7-note is diatonic. We now want to do this for a major key instead of a minor key. We want to do this for the key of A major. So in order to locate your pentatonic position number 1, and again, this pentatonic scale is just 5 notes, instead of taking your first finger and putting it on the note A, you're going to take your pinky and you're going to put it on your note A. That's going to be how you locate your pentatonic position number 1. So here's the note A on the 5th fret right here, and here's the 5 pentatonic notes. All right, so it's A, B, C sharp, E, and F sharp. And then it repeats up at A again. So it's just 5 notes. And then if you want to take this pattern and you want to expand it across all 6 strings, the notes are going to repeat, but you're still just playing the same 5 notes. And then down here is the note F sharp, So that's part of those 5 notes too. So this pattern is the same. You just located your position number 1 using your pinky instead of using your index finger. So you have your position number 1. So the 5 positions are exactly the same for major as they are for minor. It's just that you located your pattern number 1 using your pinky instead of your index finger. So if I want to go ahead and I want to add in my 2 additional notes to create the 7-note scale, otherwise known as the diatonic scale, again, I could do that. So here they are. So that's the A major scale, otherwise known as the diatonic scale in the key of A major. It's just 2 additional notes. We now have a 7-note scale. So if I want to take that 7-note scale and I want to repeat some notes, and I want to span this across all 6 strings, it's still just 7 notes, but now we have just formed a pattern that looks like this. And then you can add these notes in too, because those notes are also part of those 7 notes. These 7 notes are found all up and down the entire neck of the guitar, but it's just 7 notes. So your goal here is to play that one pattern right there, but you want to expand your playing range. If I'm moving too quickly here with this, it's because I've done multiple lessons on the same topic before. I'll post a link to the one below. It's called the 3 most common visualization approaches to covering the fretboard. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. I'm just showing you visualization approaches. This is the 5 patterns approach. 1 pattern, 2 pattern, 3. But there's other ways to do this. You can visualize the entire scale, which is just 7 notes, using 7 patterns. You can do it using 5 patterns. You can do it using 3 patterns. And then there's other ways to do it too. In the next video, I'm going to talk about some unconventional ways on how to approach this stuff. For the purposes of this video, we're just looking at the 5 patterns approach. So you have a very clear, distinct goal. I want to learn how to solo in the key of A minor using my A minor pentatonic scale and or my A natural minor scale. How do I do that? I learn my scale patterns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Focus on that, practice it every day, get good at it, achieve that goal. I want to do the same thing, but I want to do it in major key. I want to learn how to play the A major pentatonic scale. I want to learn how to play the A major scale. otherwise just known as the diatonic scale in a major key context in the key of A major. How do I do that? Again, pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, pattern 4, pattern 5. Practice it every day, work on it, memorize those scale patterns, see how they all fit together, achieve that goal. That's how you're going to do it in the shortest amount of time possible. Now let's talk about those other things, this cage system and these modes. All right, so if the cage system is not the answer to this specific goal that we're working on here, then what exactly is the goal of the cage system? As I said, I made a 45-minute long video about the cage system, a very, very in-depth video about the cage system, which I will post a link to below. But here I'm just going to give you a very, very quick overview of what the cage system is for and what the purpose is for. So let's go back to the key of A minor, for example. Let's look at the entire fretboard. These are your 7 notes in the key of A minor, spanned all up and down the neck of the guitar. You can visualize this using the 5 positions we just did. It's just 7 notes. However you want to visualize this, using 5 patterns or 7 patterns or whatever, it's just 7 notes. You have the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. All up and down the neck of the guitar, you have all 7 of those notes, and they form all these different patterns, right? That was the goal. What's up with this cage system? All right, so if I'm soloing over a chord progression in this key, and the band happens to play an F major chord. All right, so the F major chord contains the notes F, A, and C. So how do I find all my Fs, A's, and C's all up and down the entire neck of the guitar? I already know my scale patterns. I already know how to play in this key that I'm in. I'm in the key of A minor. The band's playing in the key of A minor. I already know how to noodle around, but the band, once they play that F major chord, they hold out on that F major chord. I kind of really want to focus on those specific notes. I want to play the chord tones of the F major chord. I want to sustain on the chord tones of the F major chord because those are going to be the best sounding notes within all these different scale patterns. The F's, A's, and C's of the fretboard are going to be the best sounding notes. How do I find those notes? The cage system is a great way to do that. So right here's an F major chord in the E shape. This is called the E shape. So you have F, A's, and C's. Here's F, here's C, here's F, here's A, here's C, and here's F. Just 3 notes. It plays, or it's in the E shape. That's the F major chord in the E shape. So knowing the cage system always spells the word caged, C-A-G-E-D. If this is the E shape, then the next shape has to be the D shape. So here's an F major chord in the D shape. It's just 3 notes. It's the notes F, A, and C. The next shape has to be C, A, G, E, D. So we have to be back at C again. So here's the F major chord in the C shape. Here's an F major chord in the A shape. Here's an F major chord in the G shape. Here's an F major chord in the E shape. The cage system is a system of chords. The cage system is not a system of scales. It's a system of chords. So if you're trying to learn how to play chords in various different shapes up and down the neck of the guitar, or if you're trying to learn how to target chord tones all over the neck of the guitar, or if you're trying to learn how to play arpeggios and write arpeggio runs all up and down the neck of the guitar, then the cage system is a great system to focus on. You have your specific goal. Cage system is the path that you would work on every single day in order to achieve that goal. But if you are trying to learn your scale patterns, like we did previously in this video, and someone says, you got to learn the cage system. Well, the cage system is not going to get you to that goal in the shortest amount of time because the cage system focuses on a different goal. Does that make sense? Specific goals, specific systems. Specific systems have specific goals. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so you have your scale patterns that allows you to play in key. You have your cage system that allows you to see the various different chord shapes, the various different chord tones, all up and down the neck of the guitar. The chord tones are embedded within these scale patterns, but they're still chord tones. They're special notes within the scale that sound very good on a per chord basis. All right, so you have your gold there. So what about this modes stuff? So the final thing I'm going to talk about in this video, and I'm just going to talk about this very quickly, is modes. And I'm not going to get too into this because I've already done a 3-part series on modes, which I will post a link to below. It's a very in-depth 3-part modes series. So if you want to learn all about modes, check that out. What modes are not is they are not patterns on the fretboard. If you are trying to take your little scale pattern right here between frets 4 and 8, and you're trying to expand your guitar playing to cover the entire fretboard, and you want to know how to do that, and someone says, learn your modes, a small cat dies. A very small kitten dies. A helpless little kitten coming up to you, super cute, rubbing its cute little face on you, purring and stuff like that. That poor little cat dies every time someone says, learn your modes, as a means to connect to the scale patterns. All right? So if you want to save the kittens, which you should, they're great little animals, save the kittens. Stop saying that stuff. Stop saying, learn your modes. Just don't do it. Please. Come on. Stop it. Modes are not patterns on the fretboard. What modes are is you take one of those 7 notes. We know that these scale patterns, it's just 7 notes repeated all up and down the neck of the guitar, forming all these different patterns, but it's just 7 notes in the key of A minor. Those 7 notes are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. There's no other notes. If you see an F sharp in there, that's not part of the key. If you see a B flat in there, it's not part of the key. It's just A, B, C, D, E, F, and G spanned all up and down the neck of the guitar. That is the key of A minor. All right? It's the key of A minor. It's going to produce the sound of A minor. It's going to produce the mode, the sound, mode, sound. It's the same thing. The sound is the Aeolian sound because you are dictating the note A to be your tonal center within the scale patterns. If you instead take your note B within these scale patterns, B is found all over the place, all up and down the neck of the guitar, but you're noodling in these scale patterns and you designate the note B, whichever B it happens to be, up and down the neck of the guitar, you designate that to be your tonal center. And if you even want to strengthen this sound idea by having a rhythm section just play one single note, that is the note B. Like let's say you have a piano player and he or she just plays B. They hold the note B. The B sound is your rhythm section. You're soloing using these patterns and you're emphasizing the B note within the patterns. The sound that is produced as a whole between your lead playing and the rhythm section that is playing just one single note that is a B, the overall sound that is produced is going to be the Locrian sound. The same thing would happen if you dictate the note C to be your tonal center within these patterns. Your rhythm section is just the piano player playing the note C, and that note C is just sustaining indefinitely. And you're noodling up and down the neck of the guitar, but you're emphasizing the note C. C is the tonal center. Everything is kind of coming back to C as being home. The Ionian sound is going to be produced. There's 7 possible notes for which you can make the tonal center. Depending on which of those 7 notes you dictate to be the tonal center, dictates the mode. You have the Ionian mode, you have the Dorian mode, you have the Phrygian mode, Lydian mode, Mixolydian mode, Aeolian mode, and the Locrian mode. You have those 7 modes. Each of those 7 modes is related to one of the 7 notes within these patterns. The patterns remain the same. All right, the patterns are the same for all 7 modes. The only difference between one mode and the next is which note you dictate to be the tonal center. It's very hard to dictate the note A to be your tonal center if your rhythm section is playing a C. See what I'm saying? So the rhythm section has a lot to do with the modal sound. But if the rhythm section is playing the note, say, the note E, all right, the rhythm section is playing the note E, you have that E sound ringing, E, 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 and you're noodling around in these scale patterns using just these 7 notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, but your rhythm section is playing the note E, and then you emphasize your note E within these patterns as your tonal center, the resulting sound is going to be the Phrygian sound. Just understand that that's what modes are. Modes are not patterns on the fretboard. Save the kittens. Modes are just a different tonal center within these patterns. All right, that's all they are. So you want to be very clear on your goals. If you want to reach your goals as fast as you possibly can on the guitar, be clear on your goal. Not only do you have to be clear on your goal, but be clear on the path for which you want to focus on in order to get to your goal as quickly as you possibly can. Be very clear on your goal. Be very specific on the path that you need to take in order to get to that goal. And be willing to put in the work every single day. You're going to achieve your goal as quickly as possible. So I hope this was clear. In the next video that I make, I'm going to give unconventional approaches to visualizing the fretboard. In this video here, we looked at the 5 patterns approach to playing your scale patterns, and we briefly talked about the cage system. But in the next video, I'm going to talk about unconventional approaches to achieving the same essential goals. All right, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.